Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is your boy Fitzmonk TV here, aka G-Lauren33. I am back here today with another episode of the Legit Shoot podcast for you guys. Here tonight with your Smackdown review and results for January 7, 2022. Hope you guys are staying safe and healthy. I know things are crazy with all of the new cases up in the air right now. So hopefully you guys are doing your best to stay safe and healthy along with your family and your friends, man. Wishing you guys all the love and best wishes out there. And you know, I'm not gonna really waste any time getting into today's news before we get into the SmackDown review. And I'm kind of glad I waited a day to do the SmackDown review so I didn't have to make a separate video on this. I told you guys I would keep you guys updated on everything that was happening with Sasha Banks, right? Of course, you guys know that she did get injured at a WWE live event a couple weeks ago in North Carolina. And after the event, of course, Sasha tweeted out that she was okay, and she thanked the fans for all the love, right? And then it was reported on PWI Insider. I believe we talked about it on the AEW review, if I'm correct. It was reported that it was just a minor knee sprain, right? And that she would be out for only a couple of weeks, right? Well, WWE posted on their social media account earlier today, and we have an official statement from them, and it is big because of course Sasha was the favorite to win the Royal Rumble this year for the women's side, and now plans might be changing. I'm not gonna say that's completely out, but right now it doesn't look that good when it comes to Sasha Banks being here for the Royal Rumble, right? So I got the article from Bleacher Report right here. So WWE superstar Sasha Banks is set to be out of action for 6 to 8 weeks because of a foot injury, the company announced on Saturday on their social media page. Banks suffered the injury at a live event in North Carolina last Sunday. An MRI revealed a bruised calcaneus bone that will require physical therapy to recover from, right? Bruise, I know I'm probably not saying it correctly, but basically it's a heel bone. It's at like the end of your foot, right? So Pro Wrestling Inc., the injury appeared to occur during the match with SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair when she took an over-the-knee backbreaker. Banks was checked on by the referee and was able to finish the match, but she had to be helped as she made her way to the back. Banks posted an update on Twitter after the event on Sunday, saying she was good and thanking the fans for her support, or for their support, right? And then, one of the most popular wrestlers in WWE, Banks is a crossover star. The 6-time women's champion made an appearance in the second season of Disney Plus's show The Mandalorian. Banks has also won an ESPY along Bianca Belair last year for Best WWE Moment after they became the first African-American woman ever to main event WrestleMania. Due to the injury, Banks will likely not be able to participate in this year's Royal Rumble, which is scheduled for Saturday, January 29th. WWE already announced some of the Royal Rumble participants during SmackDown Live on Friday. Some of the biggest surprises include Summer Rae and Impact Wrestling Knockouts champion Mickie James. And we'll talk about Mickie James and all that a little bit later in the pod, but that's the big news when it comes to Sasha Banks. A couple of things here. Right, couple of things. First off, it's, you know, I'm glad that the injury isn't as bad, you know, as some people were speculating. First, of course, when Sasha first said that she was okay, you know, Sasha, she's a very, very private person. So even though Sasha was saying she was okay, you wanted to hear an official statement from either WWE or somebody else to really truly know whether, you know, what was the extent of the injury, right? The next thing is, when we first got that PWI Insider report, it was good to hear that Sasha was only going to be out a couple weeks, right? You thought going into the Royal Rumble, they were going to either keep her off TV or they would only have her do, you know, some promos, some backstage interviews, right? Nothing too major. So she wouldn't have the chance to hurt that heel on her foot anymore before the Rumble, right? So now it's now official. She's going to be out for about 6 to 8 weeks, which absolutely sucks. Absolutely sucks, right? Because she was the favorite to win the Royal Rumble. I think, I'm going to say this right now, I don't have any confirmation on this. I don't know. This is me speculating. I think there's a small chance Sasha could be in the Rumble. Small chance, right? I'm not going to say just because WWE says it's 6 to 8 weeks. There's still a chance I think WWE could be putting a little bit of story into this. The one example I would give you guys is 2008. Right, John Cena got injured. He was not supposed to be back at all. They didn't even know Cena was going to be back for WrestleMania. Right, Cena came back way before WrestleMania. He came back in the Royal Rumble. One of the most famous Royal Rumble entrances of all time. JR going crazy when Cena came up at number 30. Right, Triple H in the middle of the ring. I remember watching that Royal Rumble. It's an epic moment because nobody expected Cena to come back on time. WWE clearly knew that WWE clearly had a plan. This was back when WWE actually knew what it was doing with its creative and their storytelling. But WWE had a plan, and secretly, they planned Cena's return because Cena, with his superhuman recovery strength, right, was able to come back early. Sasha's already been out for technically a week, right? We know that she hasn't wrestled since that injury. It happened about a week ago. 6 to 8 weeks, right? Based on the reports, it's just going to really heal on its own, and then Sasha's going to be doing physical therapy. So she most likely won't be on TV again, anytime soon. I still think there's a small chance that Sasha could appear at the Rumble. Honestly, to have her win the Rumble, you don't have to have her do much. If she's somehow able, right? The Rumble's 3 weeks away. Today's the 8th, right? We have 3 weeks of the Royal Rumble, right? By then, she would have already been out now for 4 weeks, because technically the injury happened last Sunday. So by the time the Rumble comes, she would have already been, healing and recovering for 4 weeks. Her timetable to come back is 6 to 8 weeks, right? So that best case scenario, if she's out for the full 8 weeks, or best case scenario, she would be out for 6 weeks, right? She would be able to come back, mid-February. Worst case scenario, it would be the end of February, or very early March at the latest, somewhere around there. So if she sits out the 6 to 8 weeks, mid to late February, early March at the latest, she'll be out. So she'll be back before WrestleMania, so we don't have to worry about that, right? But to have her win the Royal Rumble, you have her come out at number 30, right? She does a couple moves, not too much. Eliminate a couple people. You can really just have her sit in the corner for most of the rest of the match until it's down to the final 3 or whatever. And then, you have her eliminate. I feel like after last night, a lot of people thought, hey, Sasha was going to eliminate Charlotte the same way they had Drew McIntyre eliminate Brock Lesnar in the Rumble a couple years ago, right? And then you can do that. And then that sets up, the Sasha and Charlotte program. Sasha wins the Rumble, right? Of course, it already has that element of Sasha eliminating Charlotte from the match. And then you can do that. I feel like that's only if Sasha's able to heal on time, right? And like I said, they did it with Cena in 2008. I think there's a small chance that Sasha could be back in time for the Rumble. If she's not, it's gonna suck, of course, because this was the year that Sasha, was the favorite. Remember a couple years ago, before the pandemic started, back in 2020, I believe, the year McIntyre won. Sasha was one of the favorites for that Rumble too, but she never appeared in it. And so it's almost crazy to think about that. It's been 4 years now since Sasha's been in a Rumble match. Yeah, she was in the first one, right? She had an amazing performance in that one when, she was like one of the final 4, I believe. Final 4, final 5, right? She was in there with Trish Stratus. We remember so many great moments from that Rumble, and then the year after that, 2019. 2019, she faced Ronda Rousey for the Raw Women's Championship, so she wasn't in the Rumble that year. 2020, she was injured. Remember that. She was supposed to be a favorite in that Rumble because we all thought, before the pandemic started, we all thought it was going to be Sasha and Bayley at WrestleMania. But then, the pandemic happened, plus Sasha was injured, so she wasn't able to be in that Rumble. Then Last year, she was the SmackDown Women's Champion at the time, so there was no need for her to be in the Rumble. She defended the title against Carmella, and now this year, this was the year that, she was the clear-cut favorite. There was really nobody else outside of maybe you could make a case for maybe an Alexa Bliss or a Liv Morgan or a Bianca Belair, but everyone knew that Sasha was the odds-on favorite going into this Rumble. Everyone knew it. You had kept Sasha and Charlotte away from each other, and we thought, okay, this is the year. We're finally going to get it this year, right? And it sucks. It sucks that we're in this position. But I'm not going to give out hope. I'm happy. I'll give WWE credit. I'm happy that they didn't try to, act like, the injury didn't happen. I'm glad that they didn't try to make us believe that there was no injury, right? Because I feel like after what happened with SummerSlam, right, and what happened a couple years ago when we thought Sasha was going to be in the Rumble, but she was injured then, and that she was in the Rumble that year. I'm happy that WWE didn't try to pull a fast one again. At least they told us that she was injured. So if Sasha doesn't appear at number 30, right, if they don't do the surprise entrance, then at least we know, okay, she's not ready to come back yet. I would be way more pissed off if they tried to act like Sasha wasn't injured and they didn't say anything, and then the Royal Rumble came and we all expected Sasha to be in it and she didn't show up at all. At least now, if she doesn't show up in the Rumble at all, right, at least we know she's not ready to come back yet. And then she'll be gone for a couple more weeks and then she'll come back after that. In terms of WrestleMania itself, I don't think this really impacts. I saw a lot. I outside of all the people that were sad on social media, I saw some people concerned that this could hurt the chances of Charlotte versus Sasha happening at WrestleMania. When I look at the Royal Rumble, right, outside of Sasha, if Sasha's not in it, I already told you, Alexa, Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, Bayley if she's ready by then, but we don't know. Asuka if she comes back then. I think those are the other people you can look at would have chance to win the Rumble. Probably those 5 names. I don't think any of those names are going to challenge Charlotte. I feel like if any of those names were to win the Royal Rumble, especially like Liv or Bayley or Bianca Belair or Alexa, they're going to challenge Becky. I feel like those names would challenge Becky, right? Maybe if Asuka's the only one that I could think of, if she won the Rumble, then her challenging Charlotte, of course, because Asuka and Charlotte have history at WrestleMania, of course, right? It would be an easy program to do. Asuka's the babyface, Charlotte as the heel, and et cetera, et cetera. Of course, you could do Asuka and Becky again, but, I don't know if WWE would do that. Like I said, we have no idea what's going to happen with the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania, but when I look at the landscape of WWE, there's really nobody else to challenge Charlotte. It looks like we're getting a Naomi and Charlotte program, which I have no problem with. We'll talk about that a little bit more later in the podcast. But I have no problem with Charlotte and Naomi as a filler program for the SmackDown Women's Championship, right? Because there's nobody else. You released Toni Storm, right? Shayna Baszler's a heel. You haven't done anything with her. Shotzi Blackheart is also a heel, right? Naomi's the only other babyface on that roster outside of Sasha. So I have no problem with them doing Naomi and Charlotte right now. And then when Sasha comes back, no matter if that's at the end of February or early March, I have no problem. You can easily start the program there, right? I don't think WWE really has anything else. You look at SmackDown's roster right now; it is weak as all hell. You don't have Drew McIntyre. You don't have Sasha. You don't have your 2 top baby faces. You don't have your top baby face in the main event scene, and you don't have your top baby face in the women's division. SmackDown is in a pit of despair right now. So I don't think SmackDown has any room to change the plans at the moment. They have nobody else to face Charlotte at WrestleMania. They really don't. So I'm not really that concerned. If they do change plans, then we'll talk about that when the time comes, and I'll probably rant and bitch and moan like I always do, But right now, I'm going based off the assumption that Sasha and Charlotte is still the plan, no matter if Sasha makes the Rumble or not. They don't need to have Sasha win the Rumble to do Sasha and Charlotte. That's what we all wanted, of course. That's what we were all hoping for, right? But they don't need to do it that way, especially if Sasha's not able to make the Rumble. They can easily do Naomi and Charlotte for now, right? And then, and if especially since Naomi and Charlotte's not happening at the Rumble, since Charlotte's going to be in the Rumble, right? You can easily do Charlotte and Naomi after the Rumble, no matter if that's at a Super Showdown or Elimination Chamber or Fastlane or whatever's the next pay-per-view in February, March. I don't know what it is, but whatever's the next pay-per-view, you can easily do Charlotte and Naomi at the next pay-per-view, and then you can, whenever Sasha comes back, February or March, you can easily build the program right then and there for WrestleMania. If they have Sasha win the Rumble, and if Sasha wins the Rumble and takes a couple weeks off after that, that's fine. I don't think anyone's going to complain about that because, you know, she wasn't even supposed to be back in time. So Sasha comes back just to win the Rumble, and then she's gone for another 3-4 weeks while she's getting fully healthy. That is fine. I don't think anybody's going to complain about that. No one's going to complain about that. You know, because you're going to want Sasha at 100% for WrestleMania. You don't want her at 50 or 60 or 70. You want the best female wrestler in the world at 100% for the biggest show of the year. It's as simple as that. All right. So really, you know, that's my thoughts on it. I hate, you know, that Sasha got injured. And the last thing I'll say on this, as before we get into SmackDown itself, I will say this. I don't know why WWE keeps doing live events. I've talked about it before, and I'll say it again. Why are you doing live events? There's no point. They're not making that. They're really, in the grand scheme of things, they don't make WWE that much money in the first place. They don't. So why are you wasting your time? Why are you putting your superstars at risk at this time of year? Seriously. It's right in the Rumble season, WrestleMania season, right? You need your superstars at full capacity. SmackDown without Drew and Sasha is going to be very difficult to watch because they don't have many big stars anymore. Jeff Hardy just left. McIntyre's injured, right? We don't know when McIntyre's coming back. We don't know if McIntyre's going to be ready for the Rumble, right? Sasha, if she's not at the Rumble, she's gone for at least, you know, a month and a half, 2 months. So you're missing two of your biggest stars, and then you're putting your whole roster at risk, not only from COVID, right? Because we already seen just a couple weeks ago what the live events do when day one had to be completely changed because you didn't have Roman Reigns. You just had a COVID breakout in WWE because of a live event. Now you're losing one of your biggest stars because of a live event. There was no need to have the live event in the first place. There is no need for this crap. Seriously. What if the injury was worse? What if it had ended up being a torn ACL? You know how easy, torn ACL, it is so injured to have serious knee injuries in WWE. Sasha's had one in the past. Seth Rollins, Bayley's going through one right now, right? So many superstars have gotten injured and had their careers cut short because of wrestling, right? There was no need to have these live event matches. There's no need to have them. You know, you're going to the most important time of the year for wrestling, and now you're missing two of your biggest people. And one of them is because of a stupid live event. AEW doesn't do live events, right? Impact and all these other companies don't really do live events. Instead, you've had, if you look at it, just the last month alone, how many nights did Sasha wrestle? How many nights did she face Charlotte or face Toni Storm at a live event in the last month? Because I know they did a bunch of live events in December because they wanted to do their holiday tour, right? How many times did Sasha have to wrestle during that month? And now she's gone because of a live event. You know, I wouldn't be talking this much if she got injured on a pay-per-view or on SmackDown television. That's different. But the live events are not necessary. They're not even making you that much money. Plus, now you're losing superstars because of the live events. What if Sasha tore her ACL at one of these live events and she was out for the whole year? All right, how you know how pissed I would be? How pissed would WWE management be? Because you let her go to a live event where she didn't need to wrestle. Stop doing the live events. They are so unnecessary and a waste of money at the end of the day. because clearly not even many people go to live events anymore because they're just really just a waste of time. It's mainly just people going to bring their kids, because you get more of a chance to meet superstars, to get autographs, and all that other point and all the other stuff. But still, it is such a waste of time. It really is. And that you're lucky that Sasha's injury wasn't worse, because then I would be crucifying this company even more. I'm glad that Sasha's gonna be back at WrestleMania, before WrestleMania. I don't think this is really gonna have an impact on Sasha and Charlotte. I still think that match is still gonna be a go because they really don't have anybody else, right? And the only thing that really sucks is if Sasha's not able to make the Rumble, which looks very unlikely at the moment. It's gonna suck because this was her year. This was her year to win it, you know. And I just hate that. I wanted to see her get that big moment, get that big babyface pop at the Rumble. It seems like every single time something big is about to happen for Sasha, something happens, right? SummerSlam, we still have no idea what happened there. Where the rematch we're all waiting for with Sasha and Bianca, we never got that, right? And now, if Sasha's not able to make the Rumble, this was her year to win it. It just sucks. It just sucks because, I can't say, if Sasha doesn't come back for the Rumble, I don't know. I don't think you're going to have a championship opportunity, or you're not going to have an opportunity like this next year. I don't think you're going to have an opportunity this right for Sasha. Everything was in place. Everything was in place for Sasha to win the Rumble. And now that looks like right now, that looks very unlikely to happen. I'm still going to have hope, right? I'm not going to bet on it or anything like that. I'm still going to leave a little bit of hope that maybe WWE is trying to make us false believe that Sasha's going to be out that long. We'll see, right? We know that Sasha's a warrior. She's going to try to come back from this stronger than ever. It just sucks. It just sucks because it was a stupid live event that shouldn't be happening. Now we're in this situation, and I hate that, but she'll be back. I'm not worried about WrestleMania right now. I am a little bit disappointed about the Rumble, but like I said, we'll see what happens. And if I get any updates on Sasha's recovery, I'll let you guys know. But I definitely wanted to open the podcast talking about that. Speaking of the Royal Rumble build on SmackDown began Friday on SmackDown, right? We had more announcements for the men's Royal Rumble, more than half of the card for the women's Royal Rumble match, or half of the field, not card, but field, has been announced, right? But before that, we have to get into Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. That is the big thing, right? We know with everything that's been going on, right now we have no idea what's the plan for WrestleMania. It's very likely that at WrestleMania, we're gonna get Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. That's very, very likely at this point. I'm still thinking there's still a small chance that maybe we get Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns. I know that was supposed to take place at the Rumble, but plans changed because McIntyre's, out with an injured neck, right? And that back injury. But still, I still think there's still a small chance that could happen. But most likely, Lesnar and Reigns is going to be the plan. And we just don't know what kind of match that's going to be. There's rumors of them maybe wanting to do champion versus champion, right? Title for title. But there's also rumors saying that, they're just going to do the Universal Championship. There's rumors saying Lesnar's a free agent and, he's going to lose the WWE Championship before WrestleMania, and then that will lead to him challenging Roman. Because right now, there is nobody to face Roman. There's, with all the injuries and Roman's ran through everybody, right? There is nobody else really for Roman to face going into WrestleMania. So we did have Brock on Fox last night. They were at the Mohegan Arena, about maybe an hour away from me, not too far at all. But of course, you guys know me. I had no care really to go to any WWE show these days. But I do have the clip for you guys.
So I've got my essay written, and I've been working on it for about a week.
And then we'll go through it.
How I use Grammarly to edit.
Like I said, this was a good segment. It's just that since we don't know what's the plan for the, Brock and Lesnar at WrestleMania right now, is it going to be title for title? Is it just going to be for the Universal title? Right? It's just really confusing and really scary for me. And the thing is, I read earlier that Seth Rollins was actually was supposed to be the plan to win at day one, which actually pissed me off even more. So the plan was for Big E to lose that title anyway at day one, which sucks. Because Big E, has proven himself to be a star in my eyes. And the fact that they were going to do him dirty and have him drop the title anyway to Seth, it just pisses me off. I don't know if this was supposed to be part of a bigger plan, right? For maybe, I don't know, either Big E to win the Rumble or for Big E to gain his championship back later on. But the fact that you were going to take the title off of Big E at day one anyway really does piss me off.
These two people, I don't ever want to see them for the rest of my life again. And these two people are Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman.
I don't blame him.
That didn't go too well for Roman.
What the hell are we about to see here?
Ladies and gentlemen,
Tribal Chief, head of the table. Allow me to introduce myself. The reigning, defending WWE Champion of the World, Brock Lesnar! That's pretty good.
That was great. How did I do, buddy?
That was great. That was the best.
Good.
Better than me.
Look, I'll say this, man. Look, I'm still a little bit angry about day one with Brock Lesnar winning. And if you guys haven't checked out the day one review or the Monday Night Raw review, right, then go check out those out because I'm not going to repeat myself. I've made my stance clear on why I had a problem with Lesnar winning at day one. But I'm not going to sit here and not act like Lesnar hasn't been one of the most entertaining things in WWE. This is probably the most entertaining Lesnar's been in his entire main roster run. Since, 2011 when he came back, right? He's doing his thing on the mic. He did a good job with the intro here. He forgot to say the undisputed, part. Heyman's like, what is it? Reigning, defending, undisputed WWE World Heavyweight Champion, Brock Lesnar, but still, it was entertaining as hell, right? Lesnar with the ponytail, the beard, right? He's not just wearing a black shirt and sweats anymore. This feels more like the real Brock Lesnar. He's having fun with this. Seeing photos of Brock Lesnar seeing photos of Brock Lesnar with fans at day one, absolutely shocking because Lesnar has made it clear that he doesn't like people. He doesn't hate fans, but he just doesn't like big crowds. He doesn't like people like that. He likes being on his own. But the fact that, Lesnar's having this much fun right now, it's really entertaining because it's different. It's different.
Roman Reigns, acknowledge me.
And then he says the acknowledge me line again, which is absolutely hilarious.
Roman, you got a lot to say all the time, and I don't. Last Saturday, I got what I wanted, the WWE Heavyweight title. You got what you want. Now, why don't we give everybody what they want?
yeah, let's do it.
Title versus title. champ versus champ. Let's do this, Roman.
So they're teasing it. They're teasing it. But the thing about it is, with Seth Rollins, right? With Seth Rollins, he was supposed to win at day one. I remember saying on that podcast that I was thinking maybe the original plan was for Big E to win the Fatal 4-Way, and then at the Rumble, then they would do Lesnar and Big E, because remember, the plans was for Roman to beat Lesnar at day one. But now, I'm just hearing that report about Seth was originally supposed to win at day one, right? This makes me think, I feel like it's more likely that Lesnar's going to lose that title at Rumble, right? Maybe Roman interferes or something happens, and then that will lead the way for Lesnar and Reigns to have their rematch at WrestleMania.
Champ versus champ, Brock versus Roman. This is a dream come true.
It's a good idea. It's a good idea. But it's not my idea. And this is my show. And we do what I say on my time. And on top of that, I don't do business with people who do business with trash like Paul Heyman.
I don't know, man. I don't know if it's me, but I know it's only been a couple weeks since Heyman and Reigns, they split them up. But Roman doesn't feel the same with Heyman. I'm just listening to his promo, right? It just doesn't feel the same. It kind of just feels a little bit like babyface Roman, what he's saying, right? He's saying, this is my yard. This is my show, right? It's just like, like, I would believe, I don't know why, I believe that Reigns and Heyman, they're still working together backstage. Just because they're not together on TV, they have to be still working together backstage. I would hope that would be the case, but I don't know. Reigns already, to me, without Heyman, this doesn't feel the same. It just doesn't.
How can you talk to me that way? Of all people in this world, you talk to me that way? How did you get that championship match to begin with? Me. That's how. Who negotiated you into that match? Me. How did you keep that title all this time? Me. That's how I protected you. I protected you from Brock Lesnar, not because I thought Brock Lesnar could beat you, but because you were my tribal chief, and I freaking loved you. And what did you do?
I love Lesnar's reaction here, though.
What did you just say?
What did you just say? Like, hey, Mrs., I loved you. I love that Lesnar reacted. Like, bitch, what the fuck did you just say? Huh?
I don't understand. While you were gone, that's all I had in my life. He was my tribal chief. I worshipped the ground that he walked on, and he physically assaulted me, and he fired me.
Shut up, Paul.
Shut up!
No, don't share that. Don't talk to him that way.
But why does Reigns care?
Hold, Brock, please don't talk to him that way.
That was kind of funny.
Paul, I told you to shut up.
Oh, Superman punch! A cheap shot by Reigns!
And that's how the segment ends. Reigns Superman punches Lesnar, and that's it, right? This is what I think is gonna happen. If you asked me last week, Sasha Banks was gonna win the Women's Royal Rumble. right? And for the men's Royal Rumble, I didn't have really anybody. Maybe McIntyre, but then he's injured, right? And then maybe Big E, right? But right now, you know, right now I want, if Sasha's not in the Royal Rumble, right? I'm gonna go with Liv Morgan. We'll see what happens. Of course, I know on Raw they're supposed to have a triple threat #1 contenders match with Doudrop, Liv, and Bianca Belair, and the winner faces Becky at the Rumble. But I'm gonna go with, they're gonna either have Bianca or Doudrop win that match. But if Sasha's truly not in the Rumble match, and she was supposed to be the odds-on favorite, I'm gonna go with Liv Morgan right now. For the men's Royal Rumble, I'm gonna say this right now: Brock Lesnar is my pick to win. I think what's gonna happen is, I think Lesnar and Lashley are gonna open the show, right? Like I said, we still have 3 weeks to build towards day one, or towards the Rumble. But I think what's gonna happen is Lesnar and Lashley are gonna open up the Rumble. I think something's gonna happen, most likely with Reigns. I think there's a chance Reigns might interfere in the match, right? And I think Reigns is gonna cost Lesnar the WWE Championship. I think Lashley wins that match. And then I think what's gonna happen is Lesnar's then gonna show up later in the night. Similar, remember a couple years ago when Lesnar won the Money in the Bank briefcase when he just walked out, right? I think they might do something like that. I could see Lesnar coming out at like number 30 and, coming out and then winning the Rumble, being a surprise entrant and then winning the Rumble and then going on to face Reigns at WrestleMania. That's the thing, because I don't think they're merging the titles. I know they teased it here, but I just don't see that happening. That's just my thoughts on it. I don't know yet. Like I said, we have so many questions, but we really don't have any idea how things are gonna go. But for right now, my guess is Lesnar's gonna lose his title at the Rumble, and I think he's gonna win the Royal Rumble, and that's how we're gonna get Reigns and Lesnar going into Mania, because they don't have anybody else to face Reigns at Mania. There's nobody. You can make the case for Big E, but I just think right now, it's most likely that Reigns and Lesnar are gonna run it back for the Universal Championship at Mania. They're teasing the title match, but I just don't think WWE's gonna merge the titles. Plus, with the USA and the Fox networks, I don't think they want that. I think they want the titles to be exclusive to their shows. So I think from right now, they're going to just do Lesnar and Reigns for the Universal title at Mania. But we'll see what happens. Overall, good segment. I like the little bit of emotion that Paul Heyman put in there. Some funny back and forth. Even though, like I said, Reigns does feel a little bit different now that Heyman's not with him anymore. But maybe because we were so used to seeing Heyman with Reigns over the last year and a half. But let's see what happens, going forward. But overall, pretty good segment to start the show, and then we'll see what happens in the coming weeks. All right, so moving on. Like I said, there wasn't too much that happened on the show. We had Rick Boogs versus Sami Zayn. Look, man, I am very, very happy I did not go to this show tonight. Very, very happy. Or last night. Anyway, so Sami Zayn confronted Johnny Knoxville backstage about his entry into the Royal Rumble match. And at first, when Johnny Knoxville I remember at the day one pay-per-view, when they first made that announcement, I thought it was a joke. I really did think they were just joking. But seriously, they're actually doing this. Johnny Knoxville will be in the Royal Rumble match, which I find to be pathetic, right? The fact that you have somebody who's never stepped foot in the wrestling ring taking a spot away from somebody in that company that deserves it, that shows why, have the talent back there, want to ask for their release. It's ridiculous. You're taking a spot away from a Ricochet or somebody of that nature, right? Somebody that deserves to be in that Rumble match, just to give it away for Johnny Knoxville. I get it. WWE, they're probably doing this to help promote the new Jackass movie coming out next month. But it still is pathetic, if you ask me. It's pathetic. I hate when WWE does this to their talent. Really. I hate when they do nonsense like this. So, basically, going on back to the match here, Zayn went up against Rick Boogs, right? Like I said, we're still not doing anything with Shinsuke Nakamura. I like Rick Boogs, but the fact that Rick Boogs wrestles more than Shinsuke Nakamura is kind of it's pathetic to me. I've been complaining about this for what 3-4 months now. Nakamura, as great as he has been, he's done absolutely nothing with the IC Championship. Why are we not building any programs for Nakamura? We're entering the WrestleMania season here. Do you even plan to have Nakamura defend that belt at WrestleMania? Do you have a plan for that? You used to be building somebody up like a Sheamus or somebody to take on Nakamura for that belt in a high caliber WrestleMania match. Especially when you think about the history of the IC title at WrestleMania. The fact that you're doing nothing with Nakamura right now, if you've done nothing with Nakamura throughout his entire reign, is pathetic to me. It's pathetic. I love Nakamura and Boogs as a duo, but the fact that they have, Boogs wrestling more than Nakamura, it's insane to me. It truly is. So, Boogs tossed Sami Zayn around with a bunch of exploder suplexes, right? But Zayn was able to take control. But when he came back from break, Boogs was able to fight himself back into the match. He hit Zayn with another suplex, right? Nakamura then distracted Zayn on the floor and allowed Boogs to score the win. After the match, Knoxville came out and he threw Zayn over the top rope, right? As kind of to say, hey, I can do it, right? I can eliminate people in the Rumble match. I expect Knoxville will probably get at least one elimination. It'll probably be Sami Zayn again, because what they're always embarrassing Sami Zayn's character. Instead, I don't know why we're not doing a Nakamura and Zayn feud for the IC title. That would be great. That would be beautiful. But they'll probably have Knoxville eliminate someone like Zayn, get one elimination, then he'll be eliminated by Almas or some shit like that. Like I said, it's pathetic to me that they're even doing this, but whatever, right? It's not like Knoxville's gonna win the Rumble. I just hate that they have this guy out here taking spots away from other people. Next up, we had Charlotte Flair come out, right? Charlotte Flair came out, and there was a video package she had announcing who would be in the Royal Rumble. Right now, there are 19 spots that have already been claimed. And we talked about it last week, with all the releases WWE has done in the last year, releasing amazing talent like Ember Moon and Ruby Soho, Tegan Nox, and Toni Storm and all of them. WWE, especially on the main roster I believe only has about 17 active women on the roster right now, not counting NXT or NXT UK. But we knew it was going to be kind of challenging for WWE to fill the Royal Rumble up with women. But of course, WWE does this every year. They just call their legends and they come back. And what's kind of pathetic is they have the same legends come back every single year, right? So I'll announce the field to you guys if you guys missed it. So we have Rhea Ripley, Nikki ASH, Alea, Natalya, Lita, right? Lita has been in most of the Royal Rumbles since the start, right? Another legend that comes back every year. Naomi, Shayna Baszler, Summer Rae. So Summer Rae, she could never wrestle. I don't know why people are so excited to see Summer Rae back. I really hope they're not actually bringing her back to wrestle like full time. This would just be another Eva Marie situation. Summer Rae, I know a lot of people are like, oh yeah, without Summer Rae, there would be no Sasha Banks in NXT, blah, blah, blah. But Summer Rae was never good at wrestling. She was just a pretty face that was there for Total Divas. And then she was there with Fandango for a time, right? She was never actually a good wrestler. And, I don't know what Summer Rae's been doing ever since she left WWE, but I don't think she hasn't got any better, right? Even Marie was here and she wasted the women's division for 3 months. I really hope this Summer Rae thinks that's a one and done, and they're not actually planning to bring Summer Rae back. She could never wrestle in the first place. But yeah, Summer Rae, Tamina, Dana Brooke, Kelly, right? Kelly is a favorite of many, but they brought her back almost every Royal Rumble. Shotzi Blackheart, who you would forget is even on the main roster, because they've done nothing with her since they turned her heel. They really turned her heel for nothing. They turned her heel for a good match with Sasha Banks, and that was it. There was really no point in you turning Sasha heel when everyone loved her as a babyface. Michelle McCool, right? Michelle McCool. She's been in most of the Rumbles since the start. Another legend. Zelina Vega, Carmella, the Bella Twins, which I'm not surprised. I'm telling you guys right now, the Bella Twins, they're probably going to be at WrestleMania this year. They've talked about making one last run, right? And I know exactly what WWE has planned. You know, they're going to bring them back for the Bella Twins. They're going to bring back the Bella Twins at WrestleMania, right? I mean, I'm getting my words mixed up. They're going to bring back the Bella Twins for the Rumble, right? If they look good, this is what WWE's going to do. They're probably going to do like some kind of triple threat match at WrestleMania. It's going to be a triple threat tag team match. It'll probably be Rhea Ripley and Nikki AS8, right? And then against the Bella Twins, against Carmella and Zelina Vega for the women's tag titles. Because the Bella Twins have always talked about how the one thing they want to do, even though they're already in the Hall of Fame, the one thing that they want to do is win the women's tag titles, right? And I think none of us would be surprised if they do that at WrestleMania. I'm really thinking that. I don't know how the Bella Twins are gonna look. I know both of them just had babies in the last couple of years, right? You know, and they probably haven't been training professionally. But if you look at their YouTube page, they're at backstage at WWE events all the time. So we'll see how the Bella Twins look. But I'm telling you right now, you know, the Bella Twins will probably end up winning the women's tag titles at WrestleMania. That's probably the plan. And then the biggest thing is Mickie James. Mickie James is coming back. And remember, Mickie James is the Impact Knockouts champion, right? And look, it's not the fact that Mickie James is coming back. It's not even the fact that, you know, everyone's talking about how Mickie James coming, who is an Impact wrestler now, right? This is WWE finally opening that forbidden door, right? WWE working with other companies. We've seen AEW do it. Impact's worked with every single company outside of WWE. You know, because I'm gonna be honest with you, I think this is a one and done. I don't think WWE is gonna be working with Impact in a huge degree going forward. I feel like this is just for the Royal Rumble and that's it, right? I don't. You know how WWE is. They never want to do it in the past. You think Vince McMahon wants to do that now? Vince has been out of touch for, 2 decades now? And you really think Vince has enough logic to do partnerships at this stage? Especially with as much talent as he releases? Get out of here. This is just a one and done. This is just because WWE needs bodies for the Women's Royal Rumble. That's it. All right? I don't think this is going to lead to some long-term or even a short-term partnership. This is a one-night thing. And until I hear otherwise, that's the way I'm looking at it. So I don't care about this opening the forbidden door. Right, it's because Mickey's a legend, and it's because, you know, they probably negotiate something like, all right, let us use Mickey, you know, for one night. I know Mickey's supposed to have a world title or supposed to defend her championship, I think this weekend on Impact, on an Impact pay-per-view. Not that I really care, but you know, she could lose that title. But I honestly, you know, you really think WWE would let Mickey bring that championship on WWE TV? Why? First of all, why would she need it? She's entering the Rumble. She's gonna run in with her championship belt? No. So like I said, I think this is a one night thing, a one time only thing with Mickey. The big thing that I have a problem with is, of course, with last year we talked about it on this podcast when Mickey got released. Right? Mickey went viral. She went viral because she posted pictures on social media of WWE sending her all her remaining items, right? Everything that tied her to the company. They sent it to her house in trash bags. WWE clearly disrespected. And the thing about it is, we read articles. We talked about it. There was articles out there about how some of the higher ups in WWE, like Triple H, were super unhappy with how Mickey was treated. You know, there was people that were actually furious, right? I believe the person that sent those trash bags to Mickey's house was fired. That person lost their job. And yes, it was well deserved, but still, Mickey went on social media to talk about it. It wasn't like, somebody, had went to Mickey's house and interviewed her, or if Mickey gave them a scoop. Mickey went on her social media page to tell everybody, look at what this company did to me on the way out. They legit sent me my items and my remains and everything like that. They sent me all my stuff in trash bags. How disrespectful can that be? And everybody, we all trashed on WWE for that. And now here we are in 2022, and she comes back. Seriously. Like, no, I can't respect that. I've lost respect for Mickie James now. I don't care. I don't care. Right? After you went on social media and you told the world, this is how this company treated you on the way out, and we all defended you, and we talked about how trash and how pathetic WWE is for doing that. You go back to them? I don't care if they're paying her. I don't know what's the terms of this agreement with Impact and WWE. I don't really care. But it's pathetic to me that she would go back to the company that legit spit on her on the way out. That's the way it is. They spit on her on the way out, and she's going back to them. That's pathetic in my eyes. It truly is. And anybody that's sitting here defending that, no, I'm sorry, you're wrong. You're wrong. Because I'm willing to bet the people that are defending her right now were the same people who are out on social media ripping WWE just like we were back when Mickie first put out those photos of WWE sending her stuff to her house in trash bags. Seriously. Stay consistent, people. Right? If you were ripping WWE back then, stay consistent now. Don't flip sides just because you're happy to see Mickie James in the Royal Rumble. She's not going to win it. Right? We have no idea how long Mickie will even be in that match. But it really is pathetic that she actually went back to that company. Really is. I understand she's a legend, but it doesn't matter. You got to have some self-respect. It doesn't matter if you really liked working for that company. They disrespected you on the way out. They clearly don't care about you anymore. And here you are going back to them because WWE is desperate. WWE is desperate for bodies for the Royal Rumble, and they saw you and are like, oh, let's get her back. I don't care if WWE paid her. I don't care what the deal was with WWE and Impact. Mickie, she needs that more self-respect than that. There's no way she should have gone back to WWE. No way. And I don't want to hear people trying to defend that. If I see people in the comment section talking about it, I'm just going to ignore you. Because there is no reason Mickie James should be going back to WWE. No way. You got to have self-respect. You got to stand up for yourself. You're a champion in Impact, right? You're a champion now. WWE was never going to give Mickie James another championship run, even though clearly she was still able to go in the ring. They never gave us Mickie James versus Sasha Banks or Mickie James versus Bayley, right? They never gave us those matches. WWE clearly saw nothing in Mickie James, right? If they did, they wouldn't have released her. They wouldn't have sent her stuff to her house in a garbage bag. So I don't want to hear anybody defending this garbage. I don't. I really don't. It's pathetic. It really is pathetic in my eyes. And seriously, the fact that Mickie James went back to that company, I lose respect. I'm sorry, but yeah, that's just the truth. I lose respect. Right. So that's the field, and then of course Charlotte announced that she was going to be in the Women's Royal Rumble as well. She announced that she was going to try to be the first champion to enter the Royal Rumble and win the match as well. We've seen this in the past, right? Roman Reigns has had to defend the WWE Championship in Rumble matches. This is not the first time we've seen a champion enter the Royal Rumble match. Right? So I don't want people to hear that. But Charlotte said, Charlotte said that she was going to win the Rumble match and then challenge the champion of her choosing. Even though I don't think any of us would see Charlotte going back down to NXT. The face Mandy Rose. I don't think anybody would be interested in seeing that match, right? And everybody is sick of Charlotte and Becky Lynch. Nobody wants to see that. I don't think they're merging the women's divisions. I feel like WWE's just doing this because they need bodies. They need star power for the Rumble, and they're like, let's put Charlotte in there. I don't think Charlotte is winning the Royal Rumble, right? When I originally saw this, the first thing that came to my mind, of course, was that they were going to do Drew McIntyre and Brock Lesnar from the Rumble a couple years ago, and they were going to have Sasha eliminate Charlotte. Even if Sasha did end up winning the Rumble match, I felt like they were going to do this, at least have Sasha be the one to eliminate Charlotte, because that would easily be a good way to set up the Sasha and Charlotte feud at WrestleMania. But right now, of course, that's up in the air because we have no idea if Sasha's going to be back for the Rumble, and it looks very unlikely at the moment. But yeah, I don't think Charlotte's going to win it. We'll see about Sasha, but that's that. So now with Charlotte being added, there's still 11 spots left, right? I'm guessing, we don't know what's going to happen. Whoever ends up facing Becky at the Royal Rumble, they probably won't be in the Rumble match, no matter if it's Becky, Liv, or Doudrop. And we know for a fact, it's pretty certain that the two losers of that triple threat match on Monday, right, they'll be in the Rumble. So either Doudrop, Bianca, or Liv, at least two of those names will be in the Rumble. So that's up to 21, right? About 21 names. That leaves you about 9 left, right? I don't think Trish is going to be in the Rumble, but that's still a spot for her. She still could be in it. And you got to think about it like Alexa Bliss will probably be in the Rumble. We know Alexa's coming back to Raw on Monday, so that brings you up to 22 names, right? Maybe if Asuka and Bayley are able to come back and be in the Rumble, that would lead you to 24, And I do think there'll probably be a couple of NXT entries in there. I think we could possibly see Raquel Gonzalez, Dakota Kai. I believe Dakota Kai was in the Rumble last year. But yeah, I think Dakota Kai, Raquel Gonzalez could be in the Rumble. And maybe a couple other names. Probably have a couple other NXT names there to fill out the field. But we'll see. But like I said, the field for the Women's Royal Rumble, it's pathetic if you ask me. Really, like Sasha was the clear-cut favorite in my eyes, but when I look at it, if Sasha's not into it, if Sasha's not going to be in the Rumble, I would go with Liv Morgan, but honestly, I don't know. I don't know who ends up winning the Rumble if Sasha's not in it, but we'll see what happens, man. But this field really is very, very weak, very, very weak. But yeah, like I said, we'll see what happens going forward. But after Charlotte announced that she was going to be in the Rumble match, right, Naomi came out, right? Naomi challenged Charlotte to a SmackDown Women's Championship match, but Charlotte said you hadn't done anything to deserve one, which is kind of facts, right? But of course, I don't think anybody would complain with a Charlotte and Naomi feud. And especially, we've all wanted to see Naomi utilized in the women's division for years now. So at least just to see Charlotte in a or at least just to see Naomi have a confrontation with Charlotte was good to see, So then we came back from break, right? So then we had Naomi versus Charlotte Flair. This was a solid match. Not surprised here because Naomi, you guys know Naomi is one of the most underrated wrestlers in that entire company. Naomi is great. It's just that they just don't use her at all, And I'm still surprised that Naomi, I feel like Naomi's only still with WWE because her husband works with the company as well. And they're always on the same brands because WWE's, they're not known for breaking up couples when they do shakeups and drafts, right? But people forget how great Naomi is in the ring because they just never use her. But this was a competitive match. The big thing, of course, was Sonya Deville coming out. Because at first, I was thinking for a sec, wait a minute. Naomi and Sonya Deville never really ended their feud, right? Naomi never really got her ultimate payback on Sonya, So I was thinking, so are they just ending Sonya Deville and Naomi? Is that just over? But no, it wasn't because Sonya came out and she announced that the match could not end by countout, and that allowed Flair to attack from behind, right? Naomi then was put into a submission but she was able to make it to the ropes, right? Breaking the figure four. But then Sonya revealed that the match could not end by disqualification. Charlotte delivered a standing moonsault, but then Naomi answered with a bubble bomb into a roll up for her own near fall. Naomi counted out of a power bomb attempt with a facebuster, but Flair then recovered, then brought her opponent off the ropes and delivered natural selection for the win. One of the funniest things was after the match, if you guys were paying attention, Pat McAfee on camera gets off his chair at ringside and he's yelling at Sonya Deville about how much of a crooked official she is, right? So clearly, this did his job. Naomi looked good, and of course, Charlotte's the heel. She wins with, Sonya abusing her power, right? So this tells me that even if Naomi and Charlotte's going to take place now, right? Sonya's going to do whatever it takes to keep Naomi from becoming champion. And what I think's going to happen is, right, of course, when Sasha comes back, no matter if that's at the Rumble or later, Sasha and Charlotte will end up feuding going to WrestleMania for the SmackDown Women's Championship. And then Naomi and Sonya, I think this ends at WrestleMania. I think this is gonna go all the way to WrestleMania with Naomi winning, and probably something happening where I could definitely see a stipulation at Mania where if Sonya loses, she is no longer an official, right? She loses her authority power, because I want to see Sonya back in the ring, but they've had her in this official role now for a very long time actually, and clearly this is gonna end with Naomi getting the last laugh on Sonya. So after that, right? After that, we saw what's his name? Adam Pearce backstage, and we thought Adam Pearce was gonna confront Sonya because nobody's confronted Sonya about her abuse of power. This has been going on for 2 months, right? Naomi has been getting the short end of the stick with Sonya abusing her power at every single end, right? But at first Sonya was trying to defend herself, but clearly Pearce was not coming at Sonya for what happened with Naomi. Pearce had to make Pearce was told by the WWE board of directors that he had to pick Roman's opponent for the Rumble, right? And that was the case. So Pearce needed Sonya's help with that. Then we move on into Happy Talk with Corbin, right, and Madcap Moss, right. This segment was bad. This was bad. There was really no care for this at all. So we all know at day one, right, they wrote McIntyre off TV with Corbin dropping the steel beam on McIntyre's neck, which was lodged with the chair. So Corbin then made his way to the ring, and basically they talked about the attack, right? And then they introduced Drew McIntyre, which of course we knew McIntyre was going to be there. Clearly, Madcap Moss came out dressed as McIntyre, right? Pat McAfee was hilarious, with how angry he was about the whole situation. And Madcap, then mocked McIntyre's Scottish accent, and they claimed that McIntyre was milking a neck injury to avoid facing Corbin. So clearly, whenever McIntyre does come back, they're gonna continue the feud, and McIntyre will end up getting his payback on Corbin. I hope it's not WrestleMania, right? But with the way the Universal title picture is looking, if it ends up being Lesnar and Brock, what else are you going to have for McIntyre at Mania? I can't really think of anything for McIntyre at Mania. Really, like SmackDown's roster is so weak right now. I don't know who else you can have McIntyre face. We've already seen McIntyre and Sheamus a dozen times. I don't know what else you can do with McIntyre. Almost all the people you could have McIntyre face are on the Raw brand. So I don't know. I don't know what you do. But so I don't know. So it may end up actually being McIntyre and Corbin at Mania, which I'm not excited for it at all, but we'll see what happens. It's all going to depend on when McIntyre comes back and what ends up happening with the Universal Championship scene. Because remember, it was supposed to be McIntyre and Reigns at the Rumble, but McIntyre's injury changed all the plans. Anyway, the Viking Raiders hit the ring, and they were supposed to have a match with the heel duo. Right, the match went very quickly. There was nothing really to talk about here. I thought the Viking Raiders would win this. I actually thought the Viking Raiders were going to end up winning this because I thought the Viking Raiders were being built up to be the next team to face the Usos, because the Usos have nobody to face right now. SmackDown on almost all levels is just depleted. They don't have enough tag teams on SmackDown, right? The women's division is faced with injuries. Now the main event scene is faced with injuries. SmackDown's roster is just completely decimated right now. So I thought the Viking Raiders would win this because they were going to be the next in line for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. But instead, they did this weak match and nothing happened. Moss hit Eric with the punchline for the pinfall victory. So the heels get the win here. Nothing of note right now. And that was that. Next up, we had a street fight for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships between the Usos and the New Day. A lot of people complain about this on social media because it's not the fact that these two can't go, because we know the New Day and the Usos have one of the best tag team rivalries of this century. We know that for a fact. The New Day and the Usos will go down as probably one of the best tag team rivalries in WWE history. It's just the fact that we've seen it so much. In the last couple months, we've seen the New Day and the Usos go out and maybe 4 or 5 times. So we're just tired of seeing it. Okay, but it's clear that WWE has nothing else, right? And I believe WWE should merge the tag team divisions. I don't think WWE should really merge the main event scene, right? But the women's and the tag divisions, I think WWE should merge those, especially the tag divisions. That's the division that needs to be merged the most. There is nobody on Raw, right? RK Bro has almost no challengers anymore. And the Usos have been facing the New Day since the draft. That's the only team they've went up against. So it's like you see how decimated the tag team division is, but you do nothing to try to fix the problem. You give us the New Day and the Usos again. And yes, I understand every single time they kill it in the ring. We know how good these two teams are. But when you've seen it time and time again, it just shows you that WWE's lazy, they're uncreative, and they're terrible. Vince has broken out every single tag team, right? This is what you get left with. This is what you get left with, the New Day and the Usos. Right? And remember, at day one, they put on already one of the best tag team matches of the year. It's going to be hard for any tag team match in any promotion to top the match the New Day and the Usos had at day one. It was a great match to start the year for WWE. First pay-per-view match of the year, on the first pay-per-view of the year, it was fantastic. But the fact that they did this again just shows that they're just uncreative on the highest degree. And it's just sad to see. It's sad to see this is the way WWE thinks. So these two teams absolutely went at it, right? This was a Samoan street fight, right? Kingston Woods mounted a comeback, and they brought a table into the match. The Usos cut them off. They hit them both with super kicks, and then eventually the Usos were able to get the win. When they put Kingston through a 3D through the table with the 3D, the same way they won at day one. The only difference here was that they used a table. Kingston took the pinfall again. Nothing changed. Kingston sold it beautifully, of course. It looked great, right? And I love how the Usos are mixing it up with their tag team finishers. I love it. It's just we saw the same exact ending at day one. Mainly, it was the same match. It was a great match. I'm not gonna sit here and say it wasn't. It was just that we've seen it so many times. So the Usos beat the New Day, ending their feud because this was the New Day's last chance to win the titles. right? I don't know who the Usos face next. I was gonna say the Viking Royal Raiders, but they lost to Madcap and Moss, or they lost to Moss and Corbin. So I don't know what WWE's plans are, But you also gotta start looking towards Mania. Who are the Usos gonna defend against at Mania? I don't know. I don't remember any of the other tag teams on SmackDown. It's almost the same thing that with the Reigns. It's like the same thing with Reigns' title reign. The Usos have reigned through almost everybody. Who are you gonna have the Usos face for those titles at Mania? I can't really think of anybody at the moment. So we'll see. The Viking Raiders are definitely a contender, but you haven't done a good job of building the Viking Raiders up. So we'll have to wait and see what happens, but I have no idea what happens at WrestleMania for the Usos. I have no idea who the Usos face next. But it was a great match, but it's just now going forward, I don't know what's next for both these teams. Excuse me. Lastly, the show ended with Reigns, who was in the locker room. He got a knock on the door, and it was revealed that Seth Rollins was going to be his next challenger for the Universal Championship. A couple thoughts on this, right? First off, I did love the detail. If you guys go back, when Rollins knocks on the door, he actually does the Shield style. He does it in the Shield theme song. He goes like, or you could say he's doing a Reigns' theme song, but it was the Shield theme song first, right? So seeing Rollins is add that extra element of making his appearance using the Shield intro music on the door was kind of cool as a knock. But another thing, this pissed me off not because we're getting Rollins and Reigns. Rollins and Reigns is a match that we actually haven't seen a lot of in WWE. I remember Reigns and Rollins back, was it what, 2016, I believe, right? Money in the Bank 2016. Reigns and Rollins had a great match back when Rollins had just came back from his knee injury, right? Reigns was the babyface. He was the WWE World Heavyweight Champion at the time. And remember, Rollins had just come back at Extreme Rules. They had a great match on pay-per-view, and Rollins won the match with the pedigree. On that same night, that was the same night that Dean Ambrose, when he was still with WWE, that's when he cashed in Money in the Bank and won the WWE World title. That was the night where all three members of the Shield held the World Championship at different points of the show. The thing about it is now, it's a fresh match. It's a fresh feud because we haven't seen it. I think they had a couple matches on Raw, but for the most part, this is a fresh feud and a match we haven't seen too much of. My problem is the fact is it makes the brand split look meaningless. If this is what you're gonna do, you might as well just end the brand split. Yes, I understand that Reigns has no challengers, but whose fault is that? Whose fault is that? That's your fault. That's your fault, WWE. You're the one that's had Reigns run through everybody to the point now where Hardy left, McIntyre's injured, right? And you've left Reigns with nobody to feud with. That's on you. You should have done a better job with the draft and, making the draft centered around building up more challenges for Reigns, right? You loaded Raw's main event scene, but SmackDown's main event scene has been pretty weak because outside of McIntyre, Hardy left. You don't have anybody else. So now you were forced with no choice but to break the brand split rules, and now Rollins has to come back from Raw over to SmackDown to feud with Reigns. That's your fault, WWE. That is. It makes the brand split look meaningless. You might as well just end the brand split at this point. Really, just end the brand split. There's no point in having it if this is what you're going to do now, since Reigns has nobody to face. If you have nobody to face Roman, Reigns should have already dropped the title. It's that simple. That's the way it should work. Reigns has been a dominant champion. You've had him run through everybody. When there's nobody left, that's when you build somebody up to take that title from Roman. You don't continue the reign when there's nobody to face. It's going to make the reign look bad. And I've been saying this for months when it comes to Reigns' title reign. It's getting staler and staler by the day. You're dragging this Brock Lesnar feud, right? You're most likely dragging it to WrestleMania. Now you're being forced to take people from Monday Night Raw. You're taking people from Monday Night Raw over just to face Reigns because you have nobody else. There's nobody else, making the brands book and the draft look absolutely pointless. You're like, does anybody ever think of the logic gaps? Really? See, I know, yes, Reigns and Rollins, it's going to be a great feud. It's going to be a great program. It's going to be a great match. But you guys have to look at everything here. You have to look at everything here, man. And yes, Reigns and Rollins, we were kind of supposed to get that last year before the draft. But then, Rollins and Edge, right? Cena came back. Lesnar came back. All these things happened. This is back when you still had people for Rome in the face. Now, look at you now. You're desperate. I don't know. WWE could easily make sense of this, I guess, by doing something next week and having, them saying that Reigns was traded or that Rollins was traded back to SmackDown. You could do that, and I guess that would kind of make up for it. Because now it looks so bad having Rollins, who just went after the WWE Championship, right? He just had a WWE Championship match at day one. He was drafted to Raw exclusively for that brand. Right now, all of a sudden, he's back on SmackDown challenging for a title on the other brand, a show that he's not even supposed to be on. So I guess next week, if you wanted to come out and say that Rollins was traded to SmackDown, right, in a last minute thing, fine. I guess that makes sense. And then you could say that, later on, you'll reveal who's supposed to be traded to Raw in Rollins' place. That's fine. But don't try to insult my intelligence. Just because you have nobody else, you do this random title match. As great as Rollins and Reigns is going to be, don't insult my intelligence. Seriously. I don't know what this means for WrestleMania because I don't see Rollins beating Reigns. I feel like we all know that. Reigns is not losing that title at least before WrestleMania. We all know that. But still, I find it pathetic. That this is what WWE chooses to do. And WWE has nobody to blame but themselves. The last thing I will say is, if you guys didn't catch this, on WWE's Dark segment, right? Usually for the SmackDown Dark segments, they would have Sasha versus Charlotte. That's the way they've been doing it for the last couple of months. But now with Sasha being out, right? Now they have to do something different. It looks like Rollins might be turning babyface for this feud. And remember when we were originally supposed to get this feud last year, that was kind of the plan. But now, it's like they had no choice. Because like I saw that, I was like, Reigns and Rollins are both heels. This is not going to work. Someone has to turn babyface. So it looks like Rollins is turning babyface because he came out, he was acting like a babyface to the crowd, right? And he got attacked by the Usos from behind, and then he hit them both with curb stomps. He even brought back the burn it down stomp, right? The burn it down. So it looks like that is back as well. So it looks like Rollins is now going to be the babyface for this feud. It would make sense because it doesn't make any sense to do heel versus heel, even though Rollins had been acting like a heel for months, right? It seems kind of random. It would be good if we could get some kind of reason for Rollins being a babyface now, but still, we'll just have to wait and see how that all goes. Hopefully, we get some kind of explanation. Don't insult my intelligence by just having Rollins come out here next week and act like a babyface all of a sudden and make me believe. You're already trying to insult my intelligence with Rollins coming over to SmackDown when he's supposed to be on Raw with no explanation. Now, don't make it worse. Don't make it twice as worse by having Rollins start acting like a babyface and not give us an explanation for it. So, next week on SmackDown, I want an explanation of how Rollins being on SmackDown makes sense, no matter if that's via trade, no matter if, there's some kind of special deal going on. But they need to explain how it makes sense for Rollins to go from Raw now to be back on SmackDown challenging for the Universal Championship. And they also need to make sense of Rollins being a babyface if that's the direction they're going in. Those are the two things I'm looking out for next week. And I hope WWE doesn't try to insult us by not explaining it. That's what I'm hoping for next week. But I'm excited for Rollins and Reigns. It's going to be a great match. I'm excited for the promos. Both of these two know each other well, of course. They're brothers off TV, right? They're best friends, and of course their time in the Shield. They're going to absolutely kill it at the Rumble. I'm just hoping they make sense out of all of this. Rollins is clearly not going to beat Reigns. Reigns is walking the WrestleMania champion, most likely against Lesnar. We still have a lot to see. Like I said, the two big title matches at the Royal Rumble are going to be awesome. Leslie and Lesnar, Reigns and Rollins. That's going to be fantastic, right? If that's not a reason to watch the show, I don't know what is, right? But yes, the Royal Rumble is up in the air now. Of course, I want to say Big E's the favorite to win the Men's Royal Rumble, but I'm still going with Lesnar for right now. And until, if Sasha's not in the Rumble, I'm going to go with Liv Morgan. But still, it's going to be interesting, man. There's this more. It seems like now we have even more questions going the WrestleMania season, right? If the start of this week wasn't already confusing enough with all the questions we had, it just got a lot more confusing with everything happening here with the WWE and Universal title scenes. But we'll see what happens, and should be make for some interesting conversation as we enter into the Rumble and WrestleMania season. But other than that, guys, that's all I got for you guys today. I'm going to end the podcast right here. Make sure to let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think of Rollins challenging Reigns at the Royal Rumble? Where do you guys think this is leading when it pertains to WrestleMania? Like I said, lots of questions. Lots of questions to be answered. But let me know what you guys think. Other than that, I'll keep you guys updated on the Sasha Banks situation. I'm hoping she'll be back for the Rumble, but even if she isn't, I'm not that concerned when it comes to WrestleMania. I think Sasha and Charlotte is still the plan, and WWE would be very, very stupid to change plans at this point in time. But we'll see what happens. Hopefully, Sasha will be able to get back here sooner rather than later. But other than that, that's about it. Thank you guys for everything. Like I said, leave a like on this video. Subscribe if you guys are new to the channel by hitting the bell next to my name, Fitzmonk TV, so you guys are notified every time I post a new video. Follow me down on social media. The links are in the description down below. Go check out the Monday Night Raw review and the WWE Day 1 review if you guys haven't checked those out already. Those things are live. Also, the AEW Dynamite review is live on the channel. I know that Battle of the Belts is tonight. I'm recording this right before the show. I don't really have any plans to do a Battle of the Belts review. If there's any big results from that show, we'll talk about that probably on the AEW Dynamite review later this week. But yes, thank you guys for everything. I'll see you guys later. Stay safe and healthy, y'all. Peace.